In 1103, the Priory of Our Lady and St. Cuthbert, Worksop Priory, was founded by the de Lovetop family, and the canons of St. Augustine were invited to form a community here. They were priests, scholars and teachers who went out into the community to teach the Christian faith, reading, writing and bookkeeping. The gatehouse offered hospitality for travellers who had made their way safely through Sherwood Forest, and they could stay there for up to 3 days anonymously and give thanks for their safe passage. John de Tickhill, who was the prior in the 14th century, commissioned the creation of the Tickhill Psalter, which is a very fine illuminated medieval manuscript now housed in the New York Public Library. In 1539, the priory was closed by order of Henry VIII as part of the Reformation. Much of the land and treasures went to the Earl of Shrewsbury, on condition that the family provided a fine right glove for the monarch at coronation services. This obligation is still in force today. Part of the priory that survived became the parish church, and the gatehouse became the vicarage, later the first elementary school in Britain. Eventually, all the monastic buildings were plundered for the stone and the lead and eventually fell into disrepair. In 1847, Reverend Appleton became the vicar at Worksop and raised money to restore the nave. The local nobility, based in the dukeries, favoured high church practices, and much restoration was carried out. This style of worship later became known as Anglo-Catholicism. So what has this to do with the Mayflower Pilgrims? Richard Bernard was vicar of Worksop from 1601 to 1612. Bernard was born in Epworth, where 130 years later, Charles Wesley was born. Bernard received his education at Cambridge, receiving an MA in 1598. He was married in 1601 and had 6 children, including daughter Mary, who later went on to marry Roger Williams. Roger Williams was the founder of Rhode Island State. Bernard was a Calvinist Puritan, but a less severe one. He embraced non-conformity when he was first preaching. He lost his job over his dissent in Worksop in 1605, and in 1606 set up his own congregation of about 100, before returning to his parish job in Worksop in 1607. He still refused to make the sign of the cross during baptisms, however. This led to him being brought before the church courts again in 1608 and 1611. Whilst at Worksop, he associated with separatist leaders, including William Brewster of Scrooby. He also associated with John Robinson from Sturton-le-Steeple, who was the pastor of the Pilgrims. He would also have known John Smith, founder of the English Baptists in Gainsborough. Bernard wrote a number of books, including one on the identification of witches, and he led his generation in advocacy for the poor. He frequently wrote against separation, which put him in conflict with Robinson and the New England churches. Bernard's daughter Mary married Roger Williams in 1629 when they were in their 20s. Roger and Mary emigrated to the New World in 1631 on the Lion. Williams was expelled by the leaders of the Massachusetts Bay Colony and established the Providence Plantations in 1636, offering liberty of conscience. In 1638, he founded the first Baptist church in America. Williams wrote the first dictionary of any Native American language, and it later became a bestseller. He organized the first attempt in any North American colony to prohibit slavery. He also embraced the views of Bernard's associates, Smith and Helwys, on the subject of religious liberty. Mary and Roger were lifelong partners and supported each other throughout these endeavors.